What's up guys, Bernth here. I'm very excited about today's video. I will show you my absolute favorite Guthrie Govan licks from the first Aristocrats record. I recorded a fast and also very slow version of each lick, and as always the standard notation and tabs are scrolling in real time, so feel free to play along. I hope that this video helps you to write your own creative licks. Remember to subscribe to the channel for more free guitar lessons. So without further ado, let's get started. So I think Guthrie doesn't really need any kind of introduction. He's one of the most influential guitar players around today, and I also have a very strong personal connection to the record I'm talking about today. When I started studying jazz guitar at the Vienna Music Institute, I was still an absolute metal shredder. It was very hard for me in the beginning to find my connection to jazz or fusion music. The record that changed everything for me is the one we're looking at today. I actually discovered the Aristocrats through the drummer Marco Miniman because of his work in the metal scene. He played session gigs for Creator, Necrophagist, and most people also know him from his Dream Theater audition. So let's start with the first lick now. It's from one of the most famous songs, it's called Bad Asteroid, and there's a lot of great guitar work on this track, from the catchy main theme to the infamous tapping part, but I chose a different lick. This lick stands out for me because it's very catchy, and it also has a very prominent spot in the song. Let's check it out. As you can hear, we are not playing straight eighth notes here. This is a swing or shuffle rhythm. The thing I like most here is the use of motifs. Those are very small catchy phrases that make this lick very interesting. Let's check out motif number 1. And here's motif number 2. It's very important to work with such small catchy phrases when you improvise, because that makes the solo interesting for the listener. The rest of the band also gets the chance to pick up on these motifs when you improvise. Another thing you should pay attention to when you practice this lick is how you place your downstrokes and upstrokes. Since a lot of the phrases start on the offbeat, you have to play an upstroke here. Let's see the slow version again. Watch my picking hand closely. I also really like the smooth sound of the triplets in the end. The best way to practice licks like this one is to let your metronome count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That way it's much easier to understand how this lick should sound. Now let's up the challenge a bit and look at a pretty fast lick from the last song on the record called Flatlands. This lick is very interesting for me personally. It has a very smooth and cascading sound, and it sounds very effortless when Guthrie is playing it, but it's actually not that easy. When you analyze it closely, you will see that it would actually also work as a metal shred lick, but it's played with a clean sound over a ballad here. That's what's so interesting about it to me. When you practice this lick, especially focus on your picking attack. You don't want it to sound like this. You really need to focus on having a light grip and a smooth sound to get this kind of weightless feeling in the song. Again, there are some critical spots in this lick where you should play upstrokes and not downstrokes. Let's see the slow version again so you can analyze it. You also have to tilt your fingers for the intervals in this lick, like this. When you do that, you don't want these two notes to overlap, you want to clearly separate them. Another thing I really like about this lick is that this is the highest note we play and this is the lowest one. So we cover a lot of melodic range all across the fretboard, and that always sounds so much better than just staying in one box for a long lick. I tried to emulate Guthrie's dynamic playing the best I can. As you can hear, not every eighth note sounds exactly the same. That gives this lick a very cool feeling. So let's hear lick number 2 from the song Flatlands again. Now let's get to the final boss, the lick from the beginning. This one was very hard to learn. It's from the song Sweaty Knockers, and it really made my knockers sweat for sure. As you can hear, this lick is really fast. That is usually not that much of a problem for me, since speed is one of my favorite topics ever, but there are also a lot of challenging and different rhythmic groups in there. We have quintuplets, triplets paired with straight 16th notes and so on, so it's really challenging. Let's hear how it sounds slow. As you can see, pretty much everything is played legato here. There's not a lot of picking involved, so at least your right hand gets to relax a bit. When you slow it down to this tempo, it's maybe even more interesting than the fast version, since you can hear the different rhythmic groups easier. I have a lot of exercises in my online course 10 Steps to Modern Shredding that focus on the switching between those different rhythmic groups, so that is a topic I really care about. When you work on this lick, you don't want the dynamic approach from the last one. You actually want every note to be loud and clearly audible, especially with the long legato phrases. If you have already worked a lot on your legato technique, you might have encountered the problem that the first note sounds great, second one too, third one okay, and as soon as you get to the pinky finger, it's barely audible. That's something you should really focus on when you practice licks like this one. They only sound impressive when you can clearly hear every note. At the end of the lick, we also have some tricky stretching going on up here on the fretboard. It's a 4-note per string thing, and this guitar only has 22 frets, so it's pretty hard but manageable if the position of your hand is correct. It won't work if you're playing like this, for example. So always focus on developing a clean left-hand technique, or else you will get stuck at some point. Watch the lick again and pay attention to how my hand is always positioned like this and not like that. So there you have it. These are my absolute favorite Guthrie Govan licks from the first Aristocrats record, from the songs Bad Asteroid, Flatlands and Sweaty Knockers. I hope I did them justice. It was a lot of fun learning these licks, and I definitely recommend to learn the licks of your favorite players as well. Remember to subscribe to the channel for more free guitar lessons. Have fun practicing, and I will see you next time.